Welcome to the Madison Miller Podcast. It is May 6, 2025. I'm going to reveal my picks for the NBA and Stanley Cup second round. And I know some of these series are underway and whatnot, but I'm going to go over what I originally picked for them and then talk about how off I am on some of these. All right, we'll start in the NBA. We'll start in the East. Cavs, Pacers. Best player in the series, you could argue Tyrese Haliburton, you could argue Donovan Mitchell. I'm going to go with Donovan Mitchell. Coaching advantage, that's a tough one. I would say slight edge to Kenny Atkinson for this year. Although from a historic standpoint, the answer is Rick Carlisle. Storyline of the series, could the Pacers make it to back-to-back conference finals? And obviously I'm not going to do the odds because they've changed a little bit, but I'll go over the current odds. I don't know what the odds were to start the series. So that's that. My pick was Cavs in 6 because I knew Indiana would so Indiana's very competitive. I just think Cleveland's a better team. Although Indiana has a better bench than Cleveland. I get it. But I'm going to say Cavaliers in 6. For what it's worth, the current odds, Cleveland minus 200, Indy plus 168. What's the Cleveland in 6 number? Plus 320. Favorite outcomes, Cavs in 7 at plus 265. All right, also in the East, Knicks Celtics. The Knicks with a surprising Game 1 victory. Coming back from 20 down, everyone's like, oh, here we go. The Celtics are owning the Knicks again. But not so fast. Knicks have the 31-14 run to get back in it. They have the lead for a little bit. It goes to overtime. Mikal Bridges gets the game-sealing steal in OT to get it done. Best player in the series, Jason Tatum. Although it could end up being Jalen Brunson, for what we know. The Knicks have 2 of the best 4 guys in the series. I would say Tatum, Brunson. Pick your poison between Jaylen Brown and Karl Anthony Towns. Karl Anthony Towns has been a better player than Jaylen Brown this season. But in general, Jaylen Brown's probably a better player. Coaching advantage, similar to the other series in the East. This year, I would say Joe Mazzulla. But in general, Tom Thibodeau because of the history. Although Rick Carlisle has a better resume than Tom Thibodeau. Although Joe Mazzulla did win a title. He did win a title. Storyline of the series. I think the storyline would have been, can the Knicks change the narrative a little bit and make this a competitive series? And so far that answers a yes. Current odds right now, Celtics minus 370, Knicks plus 295. My pick in the series would have been Celtics in 5, a gentleman's sweep, because I thought the Knicks would win 1 at home. But probably not the case. So, Boston winning the next 4 games is 3-1. And the favorite outcome now is Boston in 6 at plus 225. Then it's Boston in 7 at plus 290. Celtics in 5 is 3-1. Then Knicks in 6 is plus 730. Knicks in 7 is plus 1040. Knicks in 5 is 16-1. Knicks sweep is 25-1. So Boston 4-1 is 3-1. It probably was a different number before. That's probably the best you can get that number. I mean, I still don't think it's going to be the case. And maybe that Cavs series goes 7 as well. But that would have been my pick. Yeah, Celtics in 5. All right, in the West, you have the Thunder against the Nuggets. Best player in the series, obviously, is Nikola Jokic. All due respect to Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Coaching advantage has to go to Mark Daigneault over David Adelman. Adelman might end up keeping the job because, depending on how this Thunder series goes, maybe. And then storyline of the series. To me, is whether the Nuggets will carry over showing the heart of a champion to the next round, because OKC is just so good. And that was my question for the series, and so far so good. My pick would have been Thunder in 5, because I just don't think the Nuggets are very good, and I think the Clippers just choked away some games that, the Clippers should have won that series personally, but I just think James Harden shit the bed like usual in Game 7, and the Nuggets, to their credit, were clutch in Game 1 and clutch in Game 4. I mean, that could have been a Clippers sweep if a couple things went their way. And then odds for the series. Thunder minus 320, Nuggets plus 260. So my pick, like I said, was Thunder in 5. I wonder what that is. It's plus 340. Favorite outcome now is Thunder in 6 at plus 35, then Thunder in 7 at plus 285, then Thunder in 5 plus 340. Then Nuggets in 6 plus 680. Then Nuggets in 7 plus 980. Nuggets 4-1 is 14-1. Nuggets sweep is 18-1. What's the series spread? OKC minus 2.5 is plus 340. So it's the same as OKC in 5. They'll probably go 6 or 7, just like the other 3 series is. And then the last one is starting tonight. Timberwolves Warriors. Best player in the series. The answer probably is Stephen Curry, but you can make a case for Anthony Edwards. For sure. Based on the last year's playoff worth. But I'll still go with Stephen Curry. Coaching edge goes to Steve Kerr. He is a 4-time NBA champion as the head coach of the Warriors, so he gets the automatic edge over Chris Finch. To me, the biggest question is, can the Warriors... this goes for the Knicks, this goes for the Nuggets, and even Cleveland, just on the degree outside of Ty Jerome. How much can they get from their bench? And I think it's a big thing for Golden State, personally. So, we'll see. Series pick, I'm going Minnesota in 6 games. I just think they're the better team than the Warriors. I think the Warriors didn't look their best in that series against the Rockets, and plus Jimmy Butler's not healthy. But this could be a Jimmy Butler revenge series. He was a former Timberwolf. He didn't play with Anthony Edwards or Gobert. He didn't play in this irritation of him. He played with Towns and Andrew Wiggins. So Minnesota 4-2 plus 470. That is not the favorite outcome. Favorite outcome is Minnesota in 7 at plus 370. Then Minnesota in 5 at plus 390. Then Minnesota in 6 plus 470. Then Warriors in 6 at plus 520. Warriors in 7 at plus 630. T-Wolves in 5 plus, or T-Wolves sweep is plus 820. Then Warriors in 5 is plus 1120. Then Golden State sweep is 18-1. So I'm going mini in 6 for that series. And then Minnesota's minus 194, Golden State's plus 162. All right, hockey. Second round. Started last night. We'll start with Panthers Leafs. Best player in the series, Austin Matthews. Coaching advantage, absolutely has to go to Paul Maurice over the Leafs coach, Craig Berube. Although Craig Berube did win a title with the Blues a couple years ago. But Paul Maurice just won the Cup last year at the Panthers. Storyline of the series. Could Toronto finally break through and make the conference finals? Well, they're up 1-0 on the Panthers. On the goaltending advantage, has to go to Sergei Bobrovsky. Over the Leafs goalie, although Bobrovsky stunk yesterday. And to be fair, they did pull Joseph Wall. And Anthony Stolarz took over. But yeah, Bobrovsky gets the easy edge there. And the funny thing is that there must have been an injury or something, because why would they pull the goalie in the third period? Because Toronto has had the whole game. But my series pick, I had chosen Panthers in 6 before the series started. I'm sticking with that because you would have thought that would be a split in Toronto. Toronto's now favored minus 122. The Panthers are plus 102. The Panthers are probably favored in the series. Favorite outcome is Florida 4-2 plus 380. Then Florida in 7 plus 390. Then Leafs in 7 plus 450. Leafs in 5 plus 490. Leafs in 6 is 5-1. Panthers in 5 is plus 750. Leafs sweep is 10-1. So I'm going to stick with Panthers in 6. So that was the only game won last night in hockey. And also in these Hurricanes Capitals, best player in the series is Alex Ovechkin, of course. Coaching advantage goes to Rod Brindamore over the coach of the Capitals, Spencer Carberry. Storyline of the series. To me, can Washington, despite not being the more talented team, get to the conference finals? And they're a significant underdog as a 1 seed. Carolina's minus 182. Washington's plus 150. So goaltending advantage. The question is, would you go with the Capitals goalie. Logan Thompson? Or would you go with the Canes goalie, Pyotr Kochetov? So the goaltending is very interesting because neither of these guys have that experience. But Logan Thompson has been the better goalie this season. So I'm going to go with Logan Thompson for the goaltending advantage for this one. And in my pick, I'm going to go with Hurricanes in 6. I do have respect for the Capitals and Ovechkin. I think they'll be competitive and win a couple games. And that is indeed the favorite outcome at plus 360. Canes in 6. And then Canes in 7s plus 420. Canes in 5s plus 450. Caps in 7s plus 480. Caps in 6 is 7-1. Canes sweep and Caps in 5 each 9-1. And a Caps sweep is 24-1. All right, starting in the West tonight. Oilers Golden Knights. Phenomenal series in the West. Best player in the series is obviously Connor McDavid. Coaching advantage has to go to Bruce Cassidy over Chris Knobloch. All due respect to Knobloch, made the Stanley Cup final last year. But Bruce Cassidy's a better coach. Storyline of the series. These two teams, if I'm not mistaken, have some playoff history. I think Edmonton played Vegas last year, if I'm not mistaken. Not in the conference finals, they played Dallas. Second round, maybe? Because I feel like these two teams played each other last year. Oh, Edmonton played Vancouver, and then Vegas might have been out in round 1 last year. Yes, they were. But did they play Edmonton? No, they played Dallas. They were the second wild card last year. And they took them to 7. Which was crazy. But I feel like those two teams played in the playoffs. Maybe it was the year that they won the cup. Let's see. Probably not in the conference finals, though. No, it was Vegas-Dallas. Second round. Yes. This was a second round rematch. They played in the second round 2 years ago. And they won in 6. They won game 6 in Edmonton. Can Edmonton get their revenge on Vegas is my question. They're probably favored in the series. We'll see. This is going to be a phenomenal series. It's a pick of -110 each way. I think Vegas in 7. Great series. Edmonton was in the Stanley Cup final last year. Vegas won the cup 2 years ago. This is the best second round matchup, in my opinion, in arguably either sport. Within the NBA and hockey, this is the best series. I love this series. It's going to be so good. And the favorite outcome is Vegas in 7 at 4-1. Then it's Edmonton in 6 at plus 440. Edmonton in 7 is plus 460. Vegas in 5 is 5-1. Oilers in 5 is plus 650. Vegas in 6 is actually 6-1. I missed that. And then Edmonton sweeps 14-1. Vegas sweep is 15-1. So I'm going to go Vegas in 7 for my pick for this one. And then last but not least in the West, game 1 is Wednesday. Stars-Jets. Great series. Best player in the series. You can make a case for a lot of players. You can make a case for Connor Hellebuck, amazingly enough. You can make a case for anybody on Dallas. You can make a case for Mark Sheffley. You can make a case for Kyle Connor. And I mean anybody on Dallas as in any of their star players. You could argue Mac DeShane or Jason Robertson, but they didn't play all the games. Or, oh no, this isn't updated. Never mind. But I do think the best guy in the series is Kyle Connor for this year. Goaltending advantage, I have to give it to Connor Hellebuck over Jake Ottinger. Hellebuck just has a better resume, but you could argue Ottinger has a better playoff resume, but Ottinger, this is his third playoffs. So I gotta go with Connor Hellebuck. He's more experienced. Coaching advantage. Scott Arniel has been the better coach this season, but in general, Pete DeBoer gets the edge. He has a better playoff resume. Scott Arniel's new to this. My pick of the series, I'm going with Dallas in an upset. I think they will win it in 6. I picked Dallas in round 1 and for the upset, and I was right. I'm going to do it again. They have more experience than Winnipeg. Winnipeg could have easily lost to the Blues in that Game 7. The Blues had to lead and the Blues choked. They came close to losing that Game 7. That kind of reminded me of when the Rangers... But then again, on the flip side, I remember when the Rangers lost were trailing in a Game 7 at home against Pittsburgh. Granted, that Pittsburgh team was better than this Blues team because of Crosby. But they're trailing, if I'm not mistaken, by 2 goals. Maybe by 1 goal to Pittsburgh in that Game 7. And then the Rangers came back and won the game in overtime. That Jets comeback kind of reminded me of that a little bit. The difference is that Jets team is the President's Trophy winners, and that Rangers team was a 2 seed that year. And pretty much that same Rangers team won the President's Trophy last year. They're not even in the playoffs. But anyway, I'm picking Dallas in 6. The Jets showed some weird signs in that series. Dallas is actually favored minus 178. Winnipeg's plus 146, so that's not an upset. Dallas is probably favored because people saw that Winnipeg almost lost to St. Louis. Favorite outcome is Dallas in 6 plus 350. Dallas in 7 plus 410. Dallas in 5 plus 460. Winnipeg in 7 is plus 490. There must be an injury on Winnipeg to why Dallas is that big of a favorite. Winnipeg 7-1 in 6. Winnipeg in 5 is plus 850. Dallas sweep is 10-1. Winnipeg sweep is 21-1. There must be an injury on the Winnipeg Jets. That is a red flag to why Dallas is that big of a favorite. And Hellebuck has been better than Ottinger this year. So, Miro Hiskinen's supposed to come back. Maybe that's it. Because it's on his long-term injury reserve. So, Sheffley's day-to-day, maybe that's why. Logan Stanley day-to-day, Josh Morrissey day-to-day. So, that's that. I'm going Dallas in 6. My apologies for thinking that's an upset, but it's not. Like I said, they're more built for the playoffs, I think. So there you have it for the picks for the NBA and Stanley Cup second rounds. So a couple things happened over the weekend that I want to quickly touch on. Sovereignty won the Kentucky Derby. Pulls away from journalism there at the end, so congrats to Sovereignty. We'll see Sovereignty in the Preakness. Jeff Burns will probably be on again next week to do that with us. It was a pleasure to have him on. We haven't had him on in a while. That's because I haven't had guests on in a while because just been very busy. And then so that's a note there. The Rangers hired Mike Sullivan as their new coach. Great hire by the Rangers. They had to do it. He was best coach on the market. 2-time Stanley Cup champion. I just think that the Penguins are a bad team and are rebuilding or on the verge of rebuilding. And that has nothing to do with Sullivan. So I think that's why they got rid of him. So great hire by the Rangers. I think that with the right moves this offseason, they'll be right back in the mix. They could be the 2025-26 Vegas Golden Knights of 22-23. Vegas missed the playoffs in 21-22, come back and win the Cup the next year. I think the Rangers actually have the best chance to do that. They are a year removed from winning the President's Trophy. They weren't fully healthy this year, but they didn't deserve to make the playoffs, as I said multiple times on the show. Anything else that I wanted to touch on before we go? The NFL draft, we need to do a podcast separately with that, with Shader falling out of the first round and all the way to the 5th round, and the Giants trading up for Jackson Dart. So we'll do that on another show. We alluded to it with Jeff Burns the other day. But we'll get to that on a separate show. So hope you guys have a great day, everyone.